Hey everybody, welcome back to Happily Hester After. So as you all know, we have started our IVF journey, and let me tell you guys, one thing that I have learned about this process is that IVF is a lot. It's a lot emotionally, it's a lot physically, and it is a lot financially. You know, you can do so many different things to prepare yourself, but there are some parts of this process that you can't really prepare yourself for. You know, like when you say you're interested in starting IVF and you start talking to people about it, they'll throw out different suggestions and things they've heard. You know, oh, make sure that you save up a lot of money, make sure that you aren't afraid of needles, etc., etc. But what I did notice is that the one thing that I could say that, like, I would say that it's the thing that I wish I would have known, but it really wouldn't have changed anything. But the one thing that is not really talked about, you know, the IVF process is the timing of it. You know, I was, what, 22 when we started this process? I think, yeah, I was about 22. Bless my heart, y'all. Yeah, I was about 22 when we started this process. You know, I'm young. I'm thinking like, okay, we're doing IVF. You know, I'll be pregnant in a couple months. You know, that's it. Woohoo, yeah. You guys, when I tell you, between the time when you decide you want to do IVF and when you actually are like pregnant and like you do your transfer and everything, it's actually a lot longer of a period than you would think. You know, IVF is essentially a giant waiting game. Like, first, after you decide that that's something that you want to do, you have to book a consultation and you have to talk to your doctor, and then depending on what you've already had done or what your situation is, you have to talk to your primary care doctor, because you don't go to a regular OBGYN to do IVF. You have to go to a fertility clinic and meet with what is it called? Endocrinologist, a reproductive endocrinologist. You can't just meet up with your regular doctor. So your doctor has to give you a referral to go to the clinic, and then you have to meet with them, and then they have to if you have insurance that covers fertility, they have to convene back between each other. And then my insurance doesn't like to communicate with anybody but themselves. So then I'm playing the middleman between them and the clinic, and ooh, let me get this form and that form and this form. You know, that part alone was like so much running around, and then you got to make sure that, you know, the clinic has all of your information, all of your medical history. You got to make sure that the insurance has everything that they need. And when I tell you, first of all, you know insurance is already really picky about stuff. IVF is expensive, so you best believe they are going to make you jump through hoops. Like, they are going to test whether or not you want this baby, because they're going to send you through so many hoops. You're like, ugh. Now, if your insurance doesn't cover, I mean, that saves you a lot of time going back and forth between them and the clinic, but you're shelling out so much money. Like, I'll have to make another video for you guys to talk about the money of IVF, because it's so complicated. We had like part of our thing covered, but part of it was a whole thing. We'll have to talk about that in detail later. But just know that in itself is a lot. Getting all that together, then you have to make sure that you've had all of your testing done. You got to make sure that they test your egg quality and all these different like scientific things. They basically pull a bunch of blood. Genetic testing is kind of optional, but we were like, yeah, let's do genetic testing. So many different things. Like, you think that I want to do IVF, I'm just gonna go, they're just gonna, you know, take it and we're gonna be done. No, it is a whole thing. And I think that is the biggest thing about this process that's had me like, oh my gosh, I would have thought we would have done this already. Like, you guys, by the time I even like finish with this IVF cycle, I think several of the people around me will have gotten pregnant and had children, had babies. Like, that, honestly, it also depends on how you do it, because I'm doing frozen embryo transfer. I wanted to do a fresh one, which is essentially, a fresh is when they retrieve and they put, you know, they do it right then and there. They retrieve and they transfer on the same day. But the only thing with that is that I have too much of a risk of hyperstimulation or something like that. So it's just not going to be, it's just not possible for me to do it like that. We found that out, you know, pretty early on, that, you know, we couldn't do that because my estrogen levels were too high. The medication worked too well on me. So they were like, yeah, you're gonna have to do it frozen. And then coronavirus. So, you know, given this is a pretty abnormal year, but even if you take out the whole coronavirus pandemic thing, you still have a good, like, maybe 6 months ish that it'll take you to finish everything for frozen. I think some people can do it in like maybe 4, because everything is dependent on your cycle, because you have to take each medication for a certain amount of time. So frozen, you have to, after the retrieval, you have to wait at least 1 cycle before they can get started again. So those things are things that people don't talk about when they talk about IVF. They're just like, oh wow, you're gonna have your miracle baby, but it's like you gotta go through all of this and wait all this time, and then you got the 2-week wait, and you got days and days and days and days of injections, and you're just like, man, when is this thing gonna happen? You know, like, I didn't have my names picked out for years. Then some people have decorated entire nurseries by the time they even get pregnant. You know, I think that is the main thing that is just not stressed enough. I mean, like I said earlier in the video, it's not like it changes anything. Like, it's not like if I had known this, I would have been like, I don't want to do this. No, I still would have been like, give me them needles. But you know, it's a thing that people should know. So I would definitely say, like, if IVF is something that you're thinking about, believe me, ever since going through this process, I do believe that it is a great thing. Like, I am so happy that this is something that is offered, because I can only imagine before IVF and all that, women who dealt with infertility and issues getting pregnant. Oh my gosh, like, imagine if I started trying to get pregnant at, like, I was 19 when we started trying. Imagine if I didn't have anything that the doctor could do to help me, and I had to wait like 20 years before I had a kid. Like, do you know how many, you know, people don't realize how many kids people around you will have in the midst of like everything that you have going on. Like, they've had and raised their kids by the time you have a kid. So I couldn't imagine. IVF, you know, if it's something that you are blessed to be able to do, I fully encourage it. If it's something that, you know, you're being led to do, and you have the resources for, and you have the time and the support for it, I am all for it. Just make sure that when you go into this thing, you don't think that you're gonna be walking up out the hospital with a baby in 9 months. It might take a little time. Just prepare yourself for that time. In the meantime, you know, make you a Pinterest board, or 3 or 4 or 7. You know, flip through some name books. I think they have a, actually I do have a before, what to expect before you're expecting. They talk about IVF, you know. I mean, just learn how to wait, I guess. But just make sure that you're going into it educated. So if you're gonna take anything from me during this process, take that. Be ready to wait, but also be ready, so long as everything works out, to bring home your miracle baby. And that's what it's all for, you know. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure, you know, like I said, we're trying to get this whole IVF thing done. We've been facing a lot of roadblocks lately with the whole coronavirus thing. We've done the retrieval. I've been trying to use this time to catch up on the other videos that we haven't posted from the retrieval. At this point, we've already done the retrieval. I just need to post the videos for it, so make sure. I don't know if I'll have posted them. I don't know which ones I have posted. I gotta check. But I lost some clips. It's been crazy, y'all. Like, this coronavirus thing, I keep trying to tell people, it's just, it's too much. So bear with me, but make sure that you're subscribed, so that way you can, you know, see when we post the new videos. Hit that bell button so you can get notifications about it. So you can keep up with us in our process and our progress and our journey, and, you know, prayerfully you can help us welcome our miracle baby into this world. So you definitely don't want to miss it. Just remember, y'all, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good, and Lord willing, I will see y'all next time. Bye.